Monsters lurking at the gate. Heroes rise in the night. Doctors wielding magic might. Doctors and dragons in the fray. Healing wounds, saving the day. Epic quest, dangerous call. Stand as one, we won't fall. Spells and swords clash in tune underneath the crimson moon. Mystic realms battle cry, fight till dawn side by side. Doctors and dragons in the fray, healing wounds, saving the day. Epic quest, dangerous call, stand as one, we won't fall.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Doctors and Dragons. Say hi, Dr. Hunting Dragons.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Or Dragon Hunting Doctors. Which way will it be? We never know. So, welcome back. We are kicking off once again in the Dragon's Rest Cloister of Stormwreck Isle. Our heroes indulged their fishing expertise and uncovered a bit more about what's going on in Stormwreck Isle. They found a book, a mysterious journal of the Harpers, as well as encountering several of the kobolds, and received a quest to explore Seagrow Caves and find out what's going on there. This is where we find our heroes. We see them almost ready to leave Dragon's Rest, considering going to the temple or just getting in a boat and sailing for adventure. Heroes, what would you like to do?
Do we really need to visit the Temple of these Apostates?
Well, I mean, they might know something useful. We don't know. Could be anything. Also, how big is this island? Does anyone know? Like, are we talking day-long trip? Week-long trip? Half an hour?
I think we have a map. Do we not?
Yeah, you can have a look at the map. I'll pull that up.
So I think if it's right around the corner, yeah, let's go. If not, we should probably check out the temple. You know.
So you would know, Tarek told you that Seagrow Caves are perhaps half a day's paddle around the island from there. The wreck of the Compass Row is about half a day's paddle. And to cross it by land would take the better part of a day, but you could do it in a day. So a decent-sized island, but you could travel to pretty much anywhere there in a single day.
I would think if they have anything useful, they would have already sorted out the caves and the wreck of the Compass Rose. Therefore, we may as well just get going.
Yeah, it's fair. That's fair. We can always check it out when we get back. All right, let's find that boat. Did he tell us where he left it?
So Tarek pops up and says, "Oh, yes. Down by the docks, you missed it just as you were coming in, but it's tucked away underneath some ferns. I'm quite skilled with druidcraft. You'll find it under one of the sheds with some ferns." And he sort of points you back to where you arrived on the beach and gives a nod to the three of you as well as to Aisling, who's sort of standing there in the background, sort of like pointing at her throat, being like, and also to Bugret Brainstrain, who's just sort of standing on there looking stoic.
All right. I guess, yeah, let's go grab the thing. Bag's not being the first rower. I'm not particularly strong.
Okay. Easy enough. You guys make your way down the sort of rough-hewn steps. You find yourself back on the beach, and you easily enough part the ferns. Now you know where they are, and produce a boat. You're sort of able to drag that onto the sand. It's a bit bigger than the lifeboat that you saw when you arrived. It's got a single mast. It's got some oars. It's got functional sail. This is, it's a runabout. You could make a trip around the island. You wouldn't really want to make a dash for the coast in it, but it's a decent little vessel. It doesn't have a name.
All right. Okay. All right, let's give this a go. Like, we push it into the water, right?
Yeah, you guys can push it into the water. Why don't you guys make for me a survival check just to determine how long it takes to get around the island, and that'll just sort of tell us when we're coming in, sort of at dusk, dawn, at high tide, low tide. So whoever wants to helm that.
Whose survival is best?
Probably Ashling's.
It's a
That's
crit
not fun.
for a
She's not
25.
here. Oh, yeah, okay,
Crit
she's
for a-
best.
Crit for a 25.
Yeah, so easy enough. You make your way down onto the water, and it's smooth sailing. You see sort of crystal clear water, a beautiful sun shimmering down, and you easily navigate the waters of the shoals. You see at one point a zombie pushing past, but you easily avoid it. As you're floating around the island, what do you guys talk about?
Okay, sorry, you were about to say.
Does anybody know anything about octopus? Was it octopus creatures that are guarding this cave? You know anything about any of those? Maybe zombie octopi?
I mean, undead seems to be a theme around here, so maybe. But no, I haven't done much in the way of aquatic animal research. I spent my youth trying to pick pockets, not perform marine biology examinations. What about you, Vorgrim? Anything?
I've never encountered them in my previous line of work.
Right. It's not great. I mean, Aisling can't speak right now, so she'd probably be the best. But I think we've got to go in blind. We just don't know anything.
Why don't we grab
could-
that kobold in the trench coat and get him to go in first?
And you see from the back of the boat, sort of flips up. He's sort of been hanging off the back of the boat, just like dangling his legs. And he says, "Yes, a trio of kobold will be happy to lead the charge as the premier adventurer."
All right, if you're happy. Yeah.
Hopefully he'll trick
Lenora.
all the traps too.
As the ship is drifting around the island, you see scraps of driftwood pulled in by an erstwhile current. What does that remind you of? Does that speak to anything in your memory? Anything dredged up?
I think sort of driftwood being swept along. It's all destruction, storms and boats, and dangerous seas, and calling down carnage and destruction and wrecking ships. There was one very early in my childhood, a local sort of fishing vessel that seemed to get caught in a very nasty storm. Lots of people died. I got ostracized from my village soon after that. But the wreckage sweeping past sort of reminds me of the wreckage coming in into my village without any associated survivors.
So Lenora's sort of staring off at the wreckage drifting past. Vorgrim, Kurgan, you're up the back.
What do you
Ashling's
think's
sort of
got her
staring off.
distracted? I turned to Vorgrim and was like, what do you think's got her so distracted?
What horrors preoccupy the mind of a Telosian? What dreams of destruction?
What?
Lenora's holding on to a piece of driftwood which looks remarkably similar, that sort of hangs from her belt, and she's just holding on to that as we're sailing this little tiny speck of a vessel around this island.
Stormlord? Maybe lightning, storms? Can't be the
Maybe-
first time she's caught in a shipwreck, right?
Maybe her first sacrifice? If it was a treant or a wooden warborn, that'd make it sense why she's keeping a bit of scrap wood.
Do Telosians practice live sacrifice? Is that a thing? kind of want to know now. Do you think asking her will piss her off?
Oh, I thought that a fearful deity and lord of destruction.
Oh, good point. Maybe it'd make her happy. It's a
Yeah.
tough question. Actually,
Tell you what, next time there's a zombie, let's ask her to pray for a miracle and get some lightning to strike it. That'll be entertaining. That'll cheer her up.
Probably, yeah. Cheer me up. I love seeing lightning hit things. Doesn't happen very often. All right. Well. Okay, hang on. Actually, while I'm asking, what god do you follow again?
Oh, someone who believes in order and strong leadership.
Right. Did that god happen to believe in life sacrifice?
Well, I mean, sometimes sacrifice is necessary for the greater good of society.
Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes, because I feel like that's a yes. But, like, if I asked you about that, would you be upset?
Depends. Are you a potential convert?
Okay, look for consideration. Say, no, I'm not a potential convert. Like, it's not my bag. But, like, if I wasn't, what would you say?
I think I would try to speak to you about the merits of my calling.
Right. So you try and convert me.
Well, everybody likes talking about what they're interested in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that could be good. We could, like, butter her up, get her ego going. But, like, would I get an answer is what I'm asking. Or a knife. Would I get a knife in the belly?
Telosian,
Okay,
do you see any storms ahead?
She looks round, slightly sad, and goes, "No, it would appear to be ridiculously calm. Somewhat dull sailing. We would get there faster with a good wind."
Harper plot. Mark my words.
Likely.
Yep. Okay. Well,
Perkin, you look somewhat nervous or nauseous. Are you not a strong sailor?
never been on the sea before in my life. Had a lot of stories about it, but no, never gone sailing. Somewhat urban oriented for most of my my existence.
Calm seas never made a good sailor. This will not be a good trip for you to learn.
So yeah, I mean, what would I learn on this kind of trip? Oh, could you show me how to, like, put up the rigging or something? Or I don't know what else you do on a ship, to be honest.
She points at the mast and goes, "That's a mast, and that white piece of cloth, that's the sail. The sail catches the wind, and on a good day gets torn from the mast as the boat gets ripped to pieces."
Hang on, is that a good thing? God, she was saying that like it was a good thing.
It separates those who can sail from those who can't.
Mail and other objects that will sink it, that will make them less buoyant in the event of us capsizing.
Okay, all I can think is that I can't sail, so I'm going to be separated.
I'm assuming everybody's actually all with us. She turns and looks at Bugrit, who's sort of sitting there in his plate mail. I think Bugrit's in half plate, isn't he, as paladin? And goes, just if we wreck, don't hold on to Bugrim. He is most likely to sink. We could use him as an anchor if we needed to steady ourselves against a squall.
Okay, I like that. That's good advice. Yeah. Don't hold on to the one who's going to sink. Right. Anyone I should hang on? You know what? I'm not going to ask that question. I feel like that's invasive. Right. Okay. Let's just focus on getting there. Okay. Yeah. Just do that.
Lenora goes back to watching the waves, and it's probably steering this boat. It's got the rudder and is steering this boat.
A fine way to pass the journey.
Easy enough. You guys steer your way around. It's a pleasant day. You've had really quite a pleasant experience on this island so far. Fishing, sailing, really quite jaunty of an adventure. You come around the coast and you find a few things. As you approach Seagrow Caves, you see an opening which sort of cuts into the cliff face. It's about 200 feet below you. 200 feet from the sea level up is cut into the rock. You're at sea level currently. There's sort of a mouth. The waves are crashing back and forth at the entrance. There's a lot of swirling current, very difficult entrance. And you see there's sort of a swirling slick of colors dancing across the water, almost like an oil shimmer at the entrance to the cave. And you can see that on the map now as sort of the entrance. I'm going to add your characters to the map just while you're chatting about what to do.
Well, that doesn't look right. What's that oil slick thing there? Little opalescence on the water. Right. So how do we approach this? Do we do we just sail on into the entrance and hope we don't get dashed against the rocks?
Do I think that this as a channel would be safely navigable?
Oh, yes. I mean, you've like using the 25 you had before, you think you could probably just steer in there. It would take a bit of time to sort of time it right with the tide. And the tide is swishing back and forth in there, but you'd be able to steer through up to what looks like an entrance with just a hint of a set of stairs you can see from there.
Okay. In that case, Lenora just turns back and rolls her eyes and then steers into this cavern with a view to sort of beaching this boat. Is there somewhere that I could sort of moor the boat at the bottom of this flight of stairs?
Yeah, you can go up. Who would be at the front of the boat, just so I know for going into the cave?
Kobolds,
Yeah,
Premier Adventurer.
Premier Adventurer, hat clasped to his... Premier Adventurer has his hat clasped to his head, sort of covering his face, and sort of sits at the front, sort of judging the tide, sort of sprinkles some dust in the air, watches it drift, and touches his lucky rabbit's foot. And you guys sail on in. So I'm going to move you guys up. You've built quite the little coterie here. You've got nearly 6 counters. And you are arriving at fairly high tide. There is just a hint of a pathway at the edge there. And as you're coming in, a tentacle lashes out at Atreyo. So some sort of octopus-like creature surges out of the water, tentacles flashing left and right. It gets a surprise attack at your mysterious companion, who no doubt will be fine. Let's find out. So the tentacle monster is going to make an attack on Atreyo, who's courageously leading the charge. Rolls a 20, hits, and does 11 damage. That is... Oof. That's not great. Okay, so 11 damage to Atreyo, and we're going to roll initiative. I'm going to start a combat. And we're facing some sort of tentacle monster. I'm going to auto initiative. Oh no, Lenora's already rolled. That's fine. Easy enough.
Sorry, I could re-roll that.
No. That's all right. So 5 for Lenora. You guys just pop a roll up there. I'll plug it in. So we've got Kurgan, 18. Oh, very nice. And we've got Borgrim 16. Oh, very nice. You guys are going to smash this out the park. We're going to start combat. I should not have added all light encounters. Hang on. So still learning about D&D Beyond. I should not have added everything in the dungeon to this. Okay. There's just 52 things in the encounter, and I just couldn't. Okay, that's easier.
Ah, yes, 52 things that we could potentially fight in this dungeon. That's not metagaming at all.
No. Okay. So we have Lenora 5. Borgrim 16. Kurgan 18. Going to auto roll for Calliope and Bugret and Aisling. And auto initiative Atreyu and the Spore Servant Octopus. But yeah, Kurgan, you're up first.
Alright, I'm gonna, as Atreyu gets attacked, I'm gonna whip out my short sword and take a swing at the tentacle that's grabbing onto him. And just for thoroughness, I'm gonna spend a luck point to gain advantage on this attack.
Ooh. Go for it.
I'm not sure how to do that in this, but wow, what a good idea of doing that. 18 to hit.
18 hits.
So I'm going to add my sneak attack and my short sword. So 5 for the short sword plus 2 for the sneak attack, so I get 7 damage total.
Yep.
And for reminder, my short sword has the Vex quality, so the next attack I make on it has advantage.
Go for it.
Oh, no. You can only draw one weapon at a time, so yeah,
That's right.
I can't draw my next weapon until next turn.
At the end of your turn, I need you to make a dex save, DC 10, as the tide sort of washes at your feet and you sort of stumble either on the boat or on the pathway, whether you're standing.
Oh boy. Oh no.
So, Kurgan, you are washed back 15 feet.
Okay, so I fall out of the boat and I'm into the water.
Yep, so you're able to land on sort of a path that's sort of covered by about a foot of water, but you have been swept back by the tide.
There's standing room!
Borgrim, you're up, and then Spore Servant Octopus is after that. So chunks fly out of this octopus creature as dagger carves into its side, and then the tide knocks Kurgan over, sort of ruining the dramatic moment a little, but nonetheless done some damage.
So is the tentacle still grasping a trio?
No, it doesn't seem to be grappled. It just flicked out and whacked him in the face. Atreyu looks pretty rough, I'm not going to lie. He's taken a heavy hit.
Okay. Borgrim is going to brandish his greatsword, and he's going to apply it as its manufacturer intended. Rolling to attack.
Yep, 23 will do it. Hits really well. Nine damage,
Pretty
very
good.
nice. So you take a decent chunk out of this octopus. It's looking, you've certainly got its attention now. Would you like to do anything else, or is that the end of your turn? If so, make a dex save at DC 10.
I'd like to have a look around, see if there's any rope in the boat, so that next time I get the chance, I can tie myself within the boat.
Yeah, that's easy enough to do. That'll be either interact with an object or free action. So, yeah, look, there's a bit of hempen rope in the boat. So you can see Tarek's a bit of a pack rat, and there's some hempen rope you could use to tie yourself to.
But that'll be next time. For now, I have to dex save. Oh dear.
So you also get swept back 15 feet. Got a 3, so we'll move you back 15 feet. So that leaves Atreyu, unfortunately, sort of by himself up there. So the Spore Servant Octopus is going to attack Atreyu again. I'm going to do this to everyone because he's only got 4 hit points left, and this could be very bad. 8. 8 does not hit, so that's great. Atreya sort of staggers and dodges, sort of doing some sort of drunken kung fu as he staggers. It's almost like his body can bend in 3 separate places. It's really weird. But yeah, misses Atreya and then moves on to the next person in initiative, which is Aisling. So what we're going to do, we can do a few things with Aisling. I can just roll for her if you guys want. You guys are welcome to use her as well if anyone would like to control her character sheet. What would you guys prefer?
Might be easier if we control her for whatever.
Yeah, you go for it. Go for it.
What can she do? Sorry, I've just got her character sheet up.
Like that thing, can't she?
What spells? She has...
She could speak with animals. You could cast light or... well, that's it. I think she could also hit with the quarterstaff.
Well, I feel like all that's a little bit out of character for what she's shown in the session she's made. But I noticed she's got this healing hands ability. She might use that on Atreya. That seems more in character.
Yeah, go for it.
Yep, so she'll run up and activate healing hands. Which I can't modify on a sheet, so we'll just have to roll it the old-fashioned way.
Yep.
So Atreya heals 5 hit points.
Oh, yes, Atreya sort of perks up and is like, ha ha! Yes. Zia's premier adventure will not be defeated this easily.
I think she needs to be next to him for that, so we should move her next to him.
Calliope's up next. If someone wants to do something for Calliope, I think she could. She's got a couple of spells as well as obviously her bardic inspiration. She's got 1 left on the bardic. Nice firebolt, maybe.
Yeah, firebolt it. I think she would firebolt it.
Yep, that sounds reasonable.
So what's she rolling with? A +4.
Yeah.
Ooh, I rolled damage. Never mind. Ignore that.
So she misses. Like, that's a crit fail, I'm afraid. Not with you.
All right. So she misses. Do you want to inspire someone with bardic inspiration before she ends her turn?
Yeah, who's up next in initiative?
Bugrit's up next, and then Atreya. Then you're on deck, Lenora.
Then Bugrit.
Yep. What does Calliope say to inspire Bugrit?
Having just firebolted the ceiling, and there's this sort of cascade of rock bits falling into they completely missed. Just hit the tentacles! Hit the tentacles!
And you can see Bugrit stands up like he's at a Tony Robbins conference. He's sort of, suddenly aware of his manifest destiny, and he's ready to go. Warhammer in one hand. And I'm going to make a quick dexterity saving throw for both Aisling, who gets a 18, easily passes, and Calliope makes a dex save as well. And easily passes, so they're both fine, which is Bugrit's turn. So Bugrit stands up.
Justin, you should probably take control of Bugrit.
Bugrit is going to charge. He's going to hit this thing with his warhammer.
Nice.
It's got a great axe.
Oh, great axe. And if he has the capacity to, he's going to try and smite the thing.
Do you get smite at this level? No, you get that later on, I think.
In which case, he's going to use coarse language and hit it really hard.
So his words are certainly harsh, and it feels as though he has been smited verbally. This octopus is, shaken to his core. So
He could try and prone the octopus with his great axe, I think.
Isn't that the battle axe?
Oh, that's his battle axe. You know, he's got cleave.
I think he's got two. He's got cleave, which is of no real use to you guys right now, and then
He's got cleave on
Yeah,
his great axe and topple on
and
the battle
topple.
axe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shall I hit a roll?
Yep. He's at +5.
So +5,
Yep.
that would make it 17.
Yep, that'll do it. And I can't remember if he's using one-handed or two-handed. Just
So the great axe is two-handed, and I think we
Yeah.
said we'd use that.
go for it.
And terrible dice
D12.
roll for damage.
2 damage. Okay.
Plus
for
three.
serving
Plus
octopus.
3, yeah.
Certainly, the physical damage is not immense, but the mental damage as you verbally smite this octopus is horrific. Truly, despite being a paladin of some renown and having
that's so
seen
stereotypical.
many things, this is bad. So that's bugger it. Atreo is going to attack. He's sort of it's very, very furious. You know, he's really wanted to impress you guys, and he really hasn't been able to do anything. So he's going to use his pack tactics to roll with advantage with his dagger. Dagger hits, and for some reason he's able to lash out another time and another time. 3 strikes. It's very weird. Like his body contorts and 3 sort of limbs. It's almost as if he's got 3 sets of limbs, but that couldn't be possibly possible. And he strikes the octopus 3 times. Does damage. Does 13 damage all up. And yeah, that's his turn. He's going to make a dex save. Actually, pretty good at dex. Yes, makes his dex save. And then that's Lenora's turn.
Lenora's going to toll the dead, so that's a wisdom save.
Go for it. So wisdom save coming up for the octopus. Oh, I'll be honest with you guys. This octopus is not very wise. But somehow it makes it. Well,
Oh, brutal. So this is
it's streetwise. It's not traditionally wise. It's streetwise.
It's a streetwise octopus. So this sort of bell sounds, but it sounds hollow and echoing. And Lenora curses and draws her mace. That's her turn.
Kurgan, I think you're up now. And this is looking pretty rough. Like it's been hacked a bit. It's sort of twisting around in this shimmering slick on the surface. It's looking rough. This thing is shedding sort of fungal spores almost off its body.
I'm going to draw my dagger and charge. So I'll move up here. And then I'm going to make my attack with my short sword first, which remember, because I hit it last time, I have advantage on my attack roll.
Fantastic. Go for it.
Which I apparently need. Oh no! Okay. That doesn't work very well. So my short sword, I take a swing, but I misjudged the distance between me and it, and it just kind of slides off its thick skin. And then I spin around on the spot and try and jam my dagger into its ear hole with my bonus action, and I miss with that one as well, I assume.
Yeah, and Atreo turns to you and says, "You'll get it next time. Don't worry."
Will I? To avoid the rushing waves, I jump on top of the thing.
Oh, very nice. On top of the octopus?
Yeah.
Sure. Give me a DC 10 acrobatics check, just because I want to emphasize this. You're jumping from a moving boat in a cave with waves onto a moving octopus, stationary octopus, but nonetheless.
Yep, I got
easy
a 14.
Easy enough. Vorgrim, octopus looks pretty rough.
I'm going to charge in, greatsword prepped, and go for a finishing swing.
Yep, easy enough. 20. Oh, is that a crit?
That is a crit.
That's it.
Natural 20, first one of the game today. Very nice. Oh yeah. Tell me what it looks like as you absolutely destroy this octopus.
While the octopus is distracted, getting stabbed by Kurgan, Borgren leaps up into the air and lashes, point first, angled down towards the octopus's closest eye. He drives it in up to the hilt, seeking to skewer this thing down to the sandbank underneath.
And the octopus sort of sinks down into the waves, and its tentacles sort of collapse, and fungal-like spores drift off into the water. And you have slain the spore servant guardian octopus of this cave. You don't know what it was doing, but certainly you've made this a safer passage. And with that, you're easily able to approach the cave, and you see a bit more of the cave. I'm going to just reveal that for you now. And you see a couple of things coming in. I'll just reveal that. So the first thing you see, and feel free to start moving those encounter tokens up onto the stairs, wherever you would want to be placed. But you see two mushroom folk just to the top of a set of stairs. And these are the sort of the myconids that were described to you guys before. And if you guys just move in, again, who's sort of taking the lead as you guys approach?
We're going to encourage Atreyo to do it.
Okay, so Atreyo takes the lead, sort of very thankful for the healing and sort of looking like he's really wanting to progress you guys again. So you approach and you enter. The sort of rough-hewn steps are very worn by the waves. It sort of comes up there at high tide, but nonetheless, you're able to approach easily enough.
Now is the time
See an
to put the
entrance tunnel.
chainmail back on.
Multicolored fungus sort of cover the wall of this tunnel, and the bioluminescent glow is enough to sort of light your way, considering it normal vision. It is the surface of the water swirls with, again, colorful, faintly glowing spores, a little different to the slick outside, but still faintly glowing spores, perhaps reacting to you don't know what. And you're able to come out of the water, up the steps, and you see beyond the entrance tunnel, which is not very big. It's only about 30 feet. You see a fungus farm. You see a 50-foot high cabin, a forest of multicolored fungi, which range from tiny filaments to sort of tree-sized mushrooms. Like there's a real Woolworth's cornucopia of mushrooms here. You know, those multi-packs you're able to get that have sort of all the different mushrooms in them. So a natural staircase of stone columns along the east wall leads up 10 feet to a higher cave area in the north, and I'll reveal that for you in a sec. Water is sort of dropping down from that higher area in the upper cave and collects in a large pool. You see the two small mushroom-like people are working amid the mushrooms near the pond, and there's sort of a sickening smell of sulfur in the air, just hanging around. But yeah, you see all that, and I'll reveal that upper area of the cave for you, which you can sort of see from your angle. And yeah. What would you guys like to do?
This might be a time for diplomacy.
Well, you got to remember, he was trying to get us to get in contact with these things so he could get those mushrooms. What were they called again? Something cap mushrooms.
And we have our
So you were after heart cap mushrooms. There's you know that the myconids sort of harvest them from the mushrooms in general.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a feeling just about everyone in this party will be a bit more diplomatic than me. So might just stay to the side of it.
I think probably Calliope and Aisling would probably be the most likely people to engage mushrooms in conversation rather than sautéing them. So I think probably Calliope would probably go and try and engage these mushrooms in some kind of conversation.
Yeah, okay. No worries, easy enough. If you guys want to move the character tokens, just sort of move them around the spaces as you normally would, and I'll
Okay.
just
Yeah. So I think Calliope would go up and try and talk to this mushroom about, what's happening or what's going on, and are they okay after the terrible battle that has just raged on their steps?
and you can see the myconid sort of tending its mushrooms with a little rake, and it says, "Go away."
We've come to trade. Would there be anybody particular to speak to about trading?
What you got?
Did we bring anything to trade?
Mushroom.
Or what would you like it for, mushrooms?
Oh. You got rations?
We've got rations. And Eleonora pulls out a ration and lobs it over to Calliope to offer the.
So Calliope comes up and sort of pulls out her book with a dragon on it and says, "Now every good book needs a dragon, and every good myconid could use some rations." And she's going to roll a charisma check. Well, she'll roll a persuasion check with advantage for the use of the rations. She'll only get one of these at advantage. The DC is reasonably high. Why don't you guys roll it just for transparency? So a persuasion check with advantage for using the rations.
Persuasion. So that's 19 at advantage. With her persuasion is +4, so that's 23.
Oh, 23. 23 will do it.
Oh, sorry, it's a
20.
Yeah, sorry, that's an 18. So 18 +3, so 22 +4. Yeah, 22.
Okay. Yeah, 22 will do it. With the 22, and you just made this was a DC 20 check. You can see the mushrooms sort of, their body language adjusts, and it's hard to gauge because they're mushrooms, right? They have a basic humanoid form, but you can see their body language sort of adjusts in a way that they may be a little more receptive to you. Not overtly helpful, but no longer hostile. And they say, they sort of dip in. Good rations. Who are you? Are you coming to help? Sort of passing the ration to the other myconid as he's going.
What help would you need? If we can help, we will help. Says Calliope. Yeah. Lenora is like propped against a wall. She's not particularly volunteering to help mushrooms, just so we're clear.
Okay. And you see Aisling sort of propped up against the wall again. She's like poking her throat, like, virality. Just need to rest. And the myconid sort of looks around, sort of glances around the cave, and you see, actually, as you take a second and as the situation settles down a little, you can see there's actually faint glowing wisps of orange fume just around the edge of the cave, just faint pockets that are barely there before they fade away, but more seems to drift up from somewhere below. And the myconid sort of says, look, our elder is not doing well. Elder Senensa, she fell ill, and last thing she did was send that octopus out to guard the front because she said something was very wrong. But we don't know what's wrong, and the elder's, not talking anymore. So we're just kind of tending the mushrooms, but something wrong with the cave. Used to smell better.
Oh, where is the elder?
You could go up north or to the west. Either way will get you there eventually. something's infesting. The mushroom crop's not quite as good as it used to be. And he sort of jerks his head back towards the. You can see a series of these are mushrooms on the map here, so you can see they're tending mushrooms, but there's certainly some that look very sickly and not healthy.
Okay.
All right. North or west, they said.
Yeah.
And I'm going to zoom
And
the map
what
up.
reward
nice.
might we expect if we assist you?
I mean, you could take some of the mushrooms. They're pretty useful. I think Tarek likes them.
Which ones does Tarek like again? Could you point them out
The
to us?
medicinal ones. The ones that make... We assume they make potions or something.
Right, but we don't know what they look like. So could you point them out to us so we know what you're talking about?
Yeah, so the myconids, they point into this general direction over here. And they pointed a few that are sort of like... it's easy enough to see the ones that are not meant to be plucked. Like you see the ones that are sort of black and although some mushrooms look moldy per se, these ones are sort of black and the consistency is sort of almost sloughing off them. Like there's something very wrong with a set of those mushrooms. But if you wanted to have a dig through the mushrooms there, now that the myconids are a bit mollified, you could roll me a d6 and you will get that many heart cap mushrooms, each of which will be used to make one healing potion, which is reasonably good.
Yeah, Kurgan will happily go sort through some mushrooms.
Are any of these
just for,
mushrooms poisonous?
And the myconid sort of looks and says, just the ones that look rotten. Don't grab those.
Oh, maybe I'll grab some of them and just for interest's sake, I'll just grab a few and see what they do.
I'll grab some as well.
Can you just move yourself up towards the mushrooms? Just follow the path you would take, you think?
Which ones were they? Sorry.
Okay, stop. And as you do that, a violet tentacle whips out at you, and you see something lurch out of the mushrooms. There is a rotten-looking creature with something between mushrooms and an octopus. Again, it lashes out at you, and it's going to make a quick attack. So these things are violet color, and they were almost indistinguishable amongst the mushrooms, but as it launches out of you, you're very aware of it. It makes one attack at you and does not hit. I imagine you would strike back.
Probably. He'd also yell out to the myconids, hey, fungus boys, stop this thing! And then I'll attack it with my short sword.
Yep.
All right. Not doing so well today.
Actually, that does hit. These things have a horrible armor class. They hit hard, but they have basically nothing for an armor class. So that it's only an armor class of 5.
Oh, I can't miss.
It can theoretically get 4 attacks on you in return, and they're necrotic. But with a single attack, you'll basically shred this thing. They're not very tough.
I roll my damage. I get a 5 damage.
Yeah, enough to shred it easily enough. So you've cleared that violet fungus. The myconids sort of look over you and like.
All right,
and you get
that wasn't very nice.
Maybe these myconids are like a bit younger than the average myconid. They might be a little immature.
Right. Well, how about you little annoying dirt eaters just run along, and we're just going to grab some of the mushrooms here, okay? And I go back to gathering some of the mushrooms.
So, oh wow, Kurgan, you got a 6. So you cover 6 mushrooms, which is fantastic. Yeah, anyone who wants to have a look around can sort of dig through the mushrooms. There's a risk of a violet fungus appearing, but you can sort of roll a d6 and tell me what you get.
Vorgrim really wants some of the poisonous ones for some reason.
Yeah, you could do that. You could trade You could grab a 1 or 2 poisonous mushrooms. Just roll me a d6 and you can see how many you get. Lenora gets 3. Beautiful. That's a nice solid roll. Justin gets 2. Okay, so you can put that in your inventory as a heart cap mushroom, and later you'll be able to exchange those for potions with Tarek.
So something weird is happening here. It's killing off the fungus.
And you can see the myconid sprouts sort of are chuckling, and you see two myconid adults come down from above. And they sort of introduce themselves. And they sort of look at the fungus and the rotting ones, and they say, yes, something wrong with the caves. If you could investigate, we'd be very grateful. We've got our hands full looking after the kids here.
I can tell. Right, I'd say let's go check out that western cave. See what's going on down there.
Yeah, who's going to take a
Atreyo, you've been quite skilled at exploring for us.
Who's sort of like, you're going to put Vorgrim and Kurgan as sort of the hammer and the anvil sort of situation? What's or bugger it up there somewhere?
I mean, that makes sense. Vorgrim's heavily armored, and Kurgan's got both good eyesight and is sneaky.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay, so you guys approach the western cave entrance, and that's easy enough to do. You don't get hit by any more sort of violent fungus immediately. So you can sort of see a passageway, and it leads out into a more open area. And I'm going to move Atreyo up to sort of the entrance. And from the entrance, you can see a couple of things. So you can see a couple more myconid sprouts. And you think the sprouts are sort of the adolescent form of the myconids. So down here, you see something odd. And it's kind of hard to get a look. You guys could roll me a perception check from the entrance of the cave if you want. It's a bit dim. Yep. There's still some bioluminescent glow, but you can roll me in sort of
I mean, I'm going to do the old I have dark vision thing, but...
yes, very good. That'll be fine.
23.
23. Pretty good. With a 23, you're able to pierce sort of the darkness. You see there's a bulbous object. It's sort of almost a honeycomb structure, and it sort of looks organic in the southwest corner. If you want, now that you've identified it, can anyone who wants can make me sort of a DC 15 nature check? Anyone who can want now that sort of Kurgan's pointed it out and sort of identified it.
Nat 20. 22 in total.
Okay, so with a nat 20, you know how everyone thinks that mosquitoes are great, but they're just so small, and everyone would just love if they were bigger. So the thing you see is what's called a sturge's nest. So a sturge's nest is somewhere between a mosquito and a bat, and it retains the vampiric tendencies of both. And you feel reasonably confident with that nat 20 that if you enter this chamber, they would sense you with some sort of vibration sense or some other something would stir from that nest. So you can absolutely turn back if you wish, but you know that if you go into that chamber, you're going to have some sturges raring to go.
Oh, guys, there's a sturge nest over there. Either we...
And Atreyo says, sturgeon, good fishing.
Not sturgeon. Oh, jeez. Sturge.
Like fishing?
That's... Hang on. I said... Did I not correct myself? It's a giant mosquito monster, all right? It's going to suck your blood out. Look, we either turn back or we, I don't know, try and fight them.
Atreyo,
is your greatcoat flammable?
What an odd thing to ask.
Well, if there's going to be sturge and they're going to race out to bite the first person who they come in contact with, if that person happened to be on fire, that would be inconvenient for the sturge, wouldn't it?
But they'd probably just
Atreus
avoid
not
it
loving this.
and
You
go
can
for
try
the
and
next
convince
turn. I mean, we could just try and set the nest on fire first. Hey, Calliope did that flame thing earlier. She could probably do it from here.
Yeah, if you want, you could cast a firebolt or whatever you wish.
Okay,
Yeah,
but if this
you know
doesn't
there's a
work,
path to
next
north
time we
as
do
well.
the flaming greatcoat trick.
I'm not sure that's going to be as effective as you think, but yeah, all right, we can give it a try. I bags you wear the greatcoat, though. So we move Calliope up.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so you guys can
she
use
can shoot.
firebolt on it, or
Yeah, she could shoot from 120 feet. So I would suggest maybe we back up. So if they come through here, we could maybe get them one at a time, like a bottleneck, rather than all being stood in this passage.
I think that's about as far as she can go while being able to see it, just because of the angle of the wall.
Uh-huh.
and you guys know there's a path to the north as well. If you want to circumvent this, I mean, there could be loot, there could be nothing. You don't know. But if you wanted to swing north, you're also able to do that.
So is she firebolting?
I'm all for murdering mosquitoes.
Kill it with fire.
So that would be 14.
Yep. Easy enough. 14 will hit. As she sort of peeks around and perks a firebolt, sorry. How much damage does it do?
1d10.
1d10.
10.
10. Okay, that's a lot of damage, actually. That's really good. With 10 damage, a couple of things happen. So with 10, the nest catches fire. Like this thing is like paper bark. It just roars up in flame. 10 is a lot of damage. And these things, while you see essentially bat-like mosquitoes, about the size of a bat, rush out, and several of them actually die in the initial flames. So you see 1 sturge, 2 sturge, 3 sturge, 4, 5 sturge, 6 sturge. No more sturge. 2 of them rush up to attack Calliope. They're going to take a quick attack, and it's going to use a blood drain. So it's +5 to hit. 11. I think Calliope's armor class is more than that.
Yeah, miss.
And the other one's going to also take a blood drain. And 25 to hit. Oh, that's it gets a +5 to hit. That's got to be a crit.
Yep.
Yep, that's a crit. So with a +5 to hit, it's going to do 1d4 + 3, so 2d4 + 3, so 7 plus. Roll another d4.
She's down. She's got to be down.
She's down.
It does 8 damage.
Hang on.
She's not down.
She's still
1 point. She's up.
1 point. And as it does that, you know how, like, you ever seen something puncture a plastic bottle, like with a knife? The proboscis sort of shoots in and just like plunges into her clavicle area, and it attaches to the target. While attached, it's not going to attack, but at the start of her next turn, at the start of the Sturge's turn, she's going to lose a number of hit points as it drains her vitality. So that's all the Sturges can do, but Calliope is looking rough. But, these things are not tanks. You could probably clean them up pretty quickly if Vorgrim and Kurgan want to make an attack.
Yep. Hey, actually rolled decent this time. So that will be a 24, and I'll make it against the one that's grabbing her.
Yeah, easy enough. These things have 2 hit points. You knock it out of the park, no matter what you.
Fair enough.
Which leaves one that's not attached. It's sort of lonely and looking for its friends. It's buzzing in the air uncertainly.
Vorgrim will take a swing.
Yep.
Terrible.
9's not going to do it, unfortunately. It sort of buzzes, flitters about the room like.
Great
like a
swords were
butterfly
not
sting
made
like
for
bee.
swatting insects.
Lenora, you could take an
And-
attack before the Sturge gets another round too, if you want.
Yeah, can I get through into melee from there? Or is it
Yeah, I'd
too
allow you
narrow?
to sort of duck and weave a bit.
Okay, I duck and weave and hit it with my mace, or not. So that's a 6. So I'd miss. I'd probably hit Calliope by accident, but no. So miss.
Okay. Treo can't. He can make a sling attack. Bugger its turn. Yeah. Treo's going to try and make a sling attack. Yep, sling attack hits and knocks the other Sturge from the air. So the Sturges are all down, and you're pretty confident there's no more Sturges in this cavern, and you've cleared them out. Well done.
Bugrit uses lay on hands for 5 for Calliope, pulls off that Sturge, crushes
great
it in
idea.
his
So,
fist.
What does that leave Calliope at?
6.
I'll just update that so I don't forget. So I'll end initiative.
I get the feeling these myconids aren't very good at pest control.
I don't
But
think these are
feel free to
next thing.
feel free to
Do
move your
myconids
characters in.
Right.
I'm unclear. I'm unclear how they thought a octopus would be able to protect them against all these horrors that are already within their cave. Seems ridiculous to me.
I mean, if you don't have blood, you're probably fine from Sturges, to be honest. Give me a minute, and I'm gonna stealth up and why can't I grab myself? And I'm gonna just check up here and have a look at what's going up around there while stealthed.
Yeah, easy enough. So you climb through the cavern. You can pass a couple of myconid sprouts who are a bit startled at the Sturge's emergence. You imagine they have sort of a natural synergy with the environment, and maybe the Sturges were ignoring them for whatever reason. You can engage with them. They're sort of tending their mushrooms as well. You can gather, you can't see any really potent mushrooms here. They seem to be an early crop. As you approach that set of stairs, a bit more reveals itself to you. All right. Okay. So you can see a couple of things as you open up the area above. You can see a big circle chamber with a number of myconid adults in the center. 2 of them look healthier, and they're sort of clustered around 4 others that are looking a bit pale and sickly. And you can see a passageway off to the eastern side, and that may be the passageway that went into the previous cavern you were in that you started in. You're not sure entirely. And you can see just peeking towards the top, there are 2 paths out of this circle cavern. The first is to the north, and then the second is to the west. You will pass by those myconids if you want to engage with them or sort of interact. You're welcome to. They seem to be mostly caring for the 4 that look a bit sick.
I return to the rest of the group. Looks like we found the myconid infirmary anyway, or what passes for it.
We should ask them what happened.
Do they know any more than the rest? Suppose we can ask. I want to see if there's anything fancy in that sturgeon thing, the nest, and make sure there's no lava or anything.
Yeah, have a peek. Give me an investigation check.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. With the dirty 20, you find 2 gold pieces. You're not sure how they got there, but perhaps they collect them like magpies. You also find a crystal key. Oh, no, it's half of a crystal key. So again, you think they might have picked this up because it was shiny, but you find sort of what looks like half of a traditional sort of key. If you think fantasy and big chest, big golden key. So this one is made of a crystal substance, almost rainbow hue in it in the right light.
Hey, check this out. A couple of coins. All right. And I don't know, a key of some kind, or half of one.
And you can add to your
interesting.
inventory mysterious crystal key. I'll send you something afterwards, but a half of a mysterious crystal key.
And a couple more gold. Actually, where the hell does it hide gold on this damn sheet?
Above the table, we've got maybe 10, 15 minutes left. So
Yep,
just think about
alright.
anything you guys would want to do while you're sort of...
Keep exploring, search some of the rooms, take a rest. Any ideas?
Let's go ask the myconids what happened. Maybe these ones will know more.
So you can see these ones are probably the adolescents again. These are the sprouts, and you can tell that because they're wearing cargo shorts and they've got skateboards and they're spinning fidget spinners. And the myconid sprouts sort of turn to you and say, "That was pretty wicked. You burn those things up." And they're sort of like gathering around Calliope, sort of being like, "Oh, how you going?" And Calliope sort of pulls out one of her books and is sort of signing it for them.
Lenora's going to go up to the sort of mushroom medical center to see what's going on up there, and could she medicine check these sick looking mushrooms?
Yeah, you can do that. Give me a medicine check.
Oh dear, rolled really badly tonight. 7. I know nothing about mushroom physiology at all. I don't think there is much room for improvement here. They are doomed.
They might have been fun guys once, but not anymore.
Maybe it'll help you with the diagnosis if you obtain a toadstool sample.
But yeah, you're in this circle chamber. You can see the four that are sick are sort of almost in a trance circle, or like not a drum circle, but they're sort of holding hands. They're almost sort of melding. Like their breath is in the same pace. Their eyes are sort of glassy. It's like they've sort of undergone a sort of mushroom mind meld or something of that nature. The two other adults who look a bit healthier are sort of keeping an eye on them, putting out water and just making sure they don't collapse. And you see just faint traces of that orange fumes drifting around the edge of the walls.
I ask one of these adults, what is this? What are these fumes? This does not seem a sensible place for a hospital.
And one of the mushrooms turns to you and he's got a monocle and he says, "Ah, yes, I am Professor Fun Guy." Well, anyway, it's a little joke we have here at the mushroom. Don't worry. So this is quite the pickle. We have everyone's getting sick. First, it was the leader. Sinenza got very sick, and she's up to the north. And then all of my friends have slowly started to fade away. They've joined into a mind meld to try and put their noggins together, if you will. But it's not working very well. And we don't know why. We know there's some orange fumes drifting about, and everything smells. But that's kind of all we've got.
Okay. You've got a long way then in the diagnostic process. A funny smell, everyone's sick. We'll hole up here in this funny smelling cavern. That's a plan, I think. Okay.
Where did the smell come from?
If I had to have a guess, I'd say to the west, but there's always been a little bit of fumes there, if you will. I blamed Gerald, of course, at first, and you see the other mushroom looks over, is like, oh. And Professor Fungi sort of turns to you and says, the west always had a bit of fumes. We call that the fume cupboard or the fume cavern, and, well, it's gotten a bit worse. We think it's coming from there, but the caves are all sort of interlocked, and it's possible that it's projecting from somewhere deeper or somewhere to the surface. We're not sure, but the west has always been fumy. Sinenza's holed up to the north. She's sort of in her own room up there.
Okay. Well, we'll leave you mycomenders or whatever you would be, tending to your own. North or west, then?
And you can see Professor Fungi sort of holds out his hand and is like, you know, we do really appreciate research grads here at the Mushroom Cavern. Good work that's got to be done, you'll understand.
Right. Well, they did say that the elder couldn't speak anymore, so suppose we could check out the Fume Cavern.
Atreyo, we need your scouting expertise.
So Atreyo looks up and says, I will find these scoundrels who have slain my father. Perhaps they are in there. And Atreyo is happy to sort of head over there. If you want, he'll have a peek. And I'll show you what he can see with a quick peek. And I'll just adjust the map. And I'll bring Bugrit over, why not? And Calliope. So, with a quick peek, again, you're not able to see the whole room. So you can, you know, with a quick peek without going in, you can see a few things. There we are. So you can see that this is completely shrouded in fumes. The whole room is very hard to see anything. You can see maybe a little rock formation, but this whole sort of area appears to be where the fumes are coming from, and it's completely shrouded. It's very hard to see much at all. That's what you get with sort of a quick peek. If you want, you can enter further into the cavern. You can do whatever you want. You can go up north. You can go west.
If I am going to enter further into this cavern, I am going to soak my cloak in some water and wrap it around my mouth before I go in any further. But then after I've done that, okay. I'll sneak in, try and come down here and peek around the side. What was that, sorry?
Prudent. Just pause your token there, because that'll get you a bit more vision.
Yep.
So you see a couple of things. As you enter, you're able to sort of adapt to the fumes a little. So as you enter, you're not sure if your eyes adjust or what happens, but you see that although the air in this cave is choked with sort of thick orange smoke that really assaults your nostrils, smells pungently like brimstone, there's strange flickering orange lights, and they illuminate the smoke a bit, and it's sort of like turning your headlights on in the fog. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it just makes it worse. The area is free of fungal growth, but instead there are crystals growing from the rock, and to the right as you come in the cavern, there's a large cluster of purple crystals jutting from the stone. On the far wall, a glowing orange crystal is wedged into a fissure in the cave wall, and that seems to be producing most of the light. So on the right, large purple crystals. On the left, you see a glowing orange crystal, and you also see streaks of soot that trace a path along the cave walls between the crystals and the orange crystal wedged into a fissure in the cave wall. And the final thing you see is a body to the south side with a journal splayed out next to them. And as you see that, a dragon-like creature leaps from the fumes, attacks you, and that's where we're going to end today.
This is why no one wants to be the scout.
Hey TTRPG tribe, if you like what we're doing here, feel free to give us a rating or a review to spread the message of doctors having a life outside medicine, of the good value of having some creative hobbies for burnout avoidance, and also just the good fun of rolling some dice with friends. We are not a medical advice podcast, and we feature a range of doctors from medical students through to doctors in training and, of course, fellow consultants. We record this podcast on a range of locations throughout Australia. We recognise the traditional owners of the land, and we pay respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging.